Hi everyone, this is Paul Lange from Disciplined Trading Strategies with this week's Trade of the Week video. This is for the week ending 10/10 of 2021 and the stock was BTU. This happened on the 4th, that was on Monday. This is based on a tier 2 gap. It's a tier 2 novice gap, so it was a gap up that was a highly rated gap to short based on a 1-minute mini climactic secondary sign of weakness type of entry. Management advanced reward to risk 2.3 to 1. As usual, before we look at this trade, what's going on for the free members at DTS this week, we have a special event on Wednesday called Why Technical Analysis. This is perhaps an overdue topic, but it's also been discussed in some other events partially here and there. But I want to give a good wrap up about why it is that we look at technical analysis as the one and only answer for virtually everyone out there. I'll go through it, give some examples. It'll be a great evening if you can attend. That's Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And if you are not a DTS member, make sure you hop over to the DTS homepage and sign up to become a free member. There's no credit card. You can even give a fake name. Just give an email that's going to receive the invites as they come out to you. This is the daily chart of BTU. The stock is going to gap up this day. It's going to gap to right there. The issue here is if you look at this daily chart should not make a new high. As a matter of fact, it should sell off on this gap up and stay sold off for a while. It may eventually make a new high down the road somewhere, but this is not a good swing type of trade. A lot of people get drawn into these patterns. That is an ending move up in here more than a beginning move, and it's likely going to fizzle away. And with a gap up after that much up, it's very likely going to sell off. I had very high confidence in that, and you can see it eventually did sell off after making a rally that day. It's even better when they try and rally on that day up on that particular pattern. I'll tell you how I played this, though. It's kind of a long story. Here's a 60-minute chart where you don't get to see a whole lot of information here. The trade I'm talking about, we opened right there. And the trade I'm talking about here, we shorted right off the top there at about 12:30. Not normally here for lunch, but this is one of these that I wanted to follow up on, so I kind of hung around to keep an eye on where it went. Here is the 5-minute chart, and I want to take a moment here to explain something. Sometimes I have a really good trade, and I don't want to use it on the Trade of the Week video because it was my second try. Now, if I tell you about the first try and say I lost the first time, came back and made so much money, it was still the Trade of the Week video, then that's fine. But I never want to show a trade where I made money if I had lost money unless I tell you about it. So I never want to do that. This trade here, I actually traded 3 times this day. The first trade was a loser. The second trade was a winner, but it made more than I lost. So going into the third trade, I was already positive on this stock. It's not that often I do something 3 times. I will do it twice sometimes. What happened was on this particular gap up, it could have fallen immediately. So I shorted this opening bar as it started to drop, and then that stopped out. But then I knew that if that didn't work, it would hit its high at 10 o'clock. So I shorted here and made some money down here. Didn't get the full collapse, so ended up making money, but I made more than I lost. I was kind of done saying, okay, this was okay trade. I thought it would just kind of fizzle out. I ended up getting out of the rest of it. Right in here, I got out of the rest of it when it refused to go lower right through here. But then going into lunch, before I walked away, I saw this thing was rallying. So I kept it on the screen, kept an eye on it, and ended up getting my entry for the trade we're talking about now right there, somewhere around 12:30 or so, under 1780, stop over at 1810. Fairly snug stop. It wasn't a perfect entry because I actually saw it a little bit late. I walked up to the screen, was already starting to drop. Could have gotten in about 10 cents earlier, not a real big deal. So 5-minute chart, boom, it was intended to be held to the end of the day, but as I came up to the screen around 3:30, I could see that green bar, put a little trail stop in there, barely got taken out of target 1, 1713, and then target 2 was end of the day, 1702. Could have been better just staying away until the end of the day, but it might have come back quite a bit too. So there's a 1-minute chart that shows you a little more detail on the entry, but it's not really anything important here on the 1-minute chart because we're at noon, so it's not very relevant. The opening, of course, was way down there earlier that day, and then that's where the entry came in. It was really underneath these bottoming tails here. And you see it really could have been done up here underneath this pivot, but I saw it when it was dropping right through here. So I waited for these tails to form, took it under there. And remember, this is a 1-minute chart, so it looks a little late, but if you go back to the 5, it wasn't really bad. It was a little bit late, but not bad. And I thought it wasn't going to have a good drop, so it was worth it. And the targets, of course, are completely off this chart because they came at close down there at 1713 and 1702, which is way underneath any price action you see here because it's a 1-minute chart. It's going from 12:15 to about 1:30 or so. If you like trades like this, well planned and discussed ahead of time trades that you can trade along with if you choose to, come join us in the DTS Trading Room If you go over to the DTS homepage and take a look at the page that says Trading Room and Letters, you'll figure out how you can join us. Until next time, this is Paul for DTS. Good trading, everybody.